A few months ago, after I lost someone important, my phone was just flooded with messages of condolence. One of them, an email from an acquaintance, it was perfect, eloquent, beautifully structured paragraphs about cherishing memories and finding strength. It hits all the right notes, flawless, really.
Right.
And then there was another one, a text from an old friend I hadn't spoken to in years. It was kind of a jumbled mess.
Oh, yeah.
Full of typos, weird line breaks, and this rambling sentence about some stupid, funny memory of the person I'd lost, like from over a decade ago.
Yeah.
Just ended with, "Ache, man, it just sucks thinking of you."
Huh.
Logically, the first email was the better message, polished, considerate, correct.
Huh.
But it felt completely hollow, like it was just assembled from some template of grief.
Yeah, I know that feel.
The messy, typo-ridden text, though, that's the one that actually made me feel something. It wasn't perfect, not at all, but it was real. It had a pulse. Huh. And it just got me thinking about this strange moment we're in, With AI that can generate that flawless email in seconds, why is it that the broken message, the imperfect one, can feel more healing than the perfect one? And what does that tell us about the difference between words that are simply correct and words that actually have, well, a soul? Welcome to this deep dive. That opening anecdote, it really cuts to the core of what we're exploring today, doesn't it?
Absolutely does.
It's not just about correctness anymore, or efficiency, especially now when machines can generate flawless text, like instantly.
Right.
We're going to embark on a deep dive into what truly makes communication resonate, what makes it connect with you on a deeper level, something far beyond just information, something profoundly, uniquely human.
And what's so fascinating here is that we're standing at this significant crossroads, really. The rapid advancement of artificial intelligence is fundamentally challenging our long-held understanding of authentic expression. And it's across a surprisingly wide range of fields, too. Yeah. From the really personal realm of creative writing to the objective world of journalism, and even into that intimate space of therapy.
It's everywhere.
AI is forcing us to reevaluate what it means to truly communicate. So our mission for this deep dive is to really delve into the philosophical and cognitive distinctions between what AI generates, its patterns and probabilities, and what the human mind actually experiences, expresses, and understands.
Okay.
We want to try and uncover why that crucial difference not only matters, but in fact maybe defines our humanity and the future of how we connect with each other.
I've been wrestling with this idea a lot lately, especially as AI's presence just keeps growing. Think about it. Articles, essays, papers. It's everywhere now.
It really is.
Filling our feeds, sneaking into our work, sometimes even like subtly editing the words we type out ourselves. And there's this narrative out there, this almost fatalistic talk that it's inevitable. AI will just take over writing. It'll write better, faster, cleaner, more efficiently than humans ever could.
Right. That's the promise or the threat, depending on how you see it.
Exactly. And yet every single time I sit down with a blank page, every time I wrestle with an idea that feels just out of reach, every time I push through that internal resistance to find my own voice, I come to this really deep, almost visceral realization. AI simply cannot replace humans when it comes to writing. Not really. Not where it truly matters. It's a tool, sure, a powerful one, but it lacks something fundamentally irreplaceable.
And that something is precisely what we need to unpack, isn't it? You see, we humans, we don't just compile information or arrange words based on the most statistically probable next word, which is, at its core, how these large language models work.
That's prediction.
It's prediction. Instead, we feel it, we live it. There's something inherently messy, almost sacred maybe, about the way our human minds think and process and ultimately express. Writing for us, it's not this simple linear process. It's an extension of that chaotic, beautiful inner world we all carry around. We don't arrive at ideas in a straight line.
No, definitely not.
We spiral around them, we doubt ourselves, we contradict what we thought we knew 5 minutes ago, and sometimes we circle back again, maybe richer for the journey.
Yeah, the messy journey.
This raw, uncertain, deeply personal process, this stubbornly human grappling with meaning and emotion, that's precisely what gives writing its soul. AI, even at its most sophisticated, doesn't truly think or feel in the way we do. It predicts.
Right.
It learns these incredibly intricate patterns from colossal data sets of human text, and then it stitches words together based on those probabilities. But true writing, the kind that resonates, the kind that moves you, it isn't really about probability.
No.
It's about vulnerability. It's that courageous act of reaching into your own tangled mess of experience, emotion, history, all those deeply private memories, and attempting to pull out something coherent enough that another human being can look at it and say, yes, I recognize that.
Yeah.
I feel that too. You put words to something I thought only I knew.
That distinction, prediction versus lived experience, that's absolutely critical.
Yeah.
AI can stitch together grammatically flawless sentences, sure. It can pull relevant references, structure a perfect essay. It can even mimic the tone of a scientist or a journalist or a poet with like astonishing accuracy.
Yeah.
But it doesn't know.
It doesn't know.
It doesn't wake up at 2 a.m. replaying some conversation it had a year ago, wondering what it really meant.
No.
It doesn't carry that quiet ache of shame or, the stubborn resilience of hope or those deeply private, wordless longings inside its code.
Exactly. It lacks that inner life.
It doesn't feel the small, almost secret pride of using words to convey something difficult, something that challenged you. It doesn't sit there with a heavy heart, wondering if it's even worth saying anything, if anyone will truly understand.
Right. The doubt.
And it certainly doesn't know what it's like to worry that no one will ever understand you. And then, miraculously, find out that someone does. Because your words, however flawed, found a home in their experience. And AI can't grieve like we do, staring at an empty chair 3 months later, still half expecting someone to walk in.
No, it simulates. It doesn't experience.
You can't feel that strange, bittersweet nostalgia reading old texts from a friend you loved but drifted apart from. Those layers of profound human experience, those subtle, contradictory emotions, that's the real wellspring of compelling communication, isn't it?
Absolutely. AI can rearrange facts, polish prose to this exquisite sheen, but it just cannot recreate the raw, often uncomfortable yet beautiful experience of being a person in the world, trying desperately to connect with another person. That's what gives real writing its pulse, its aliveness. When we encounter something that truly moves us, a novel, a poem, even just a heartfelt text message like the one you describe, it's almost never because it's perfectly crafted in some objective sense.
Right, not the flawless email.
No. It's because we can feel the human being, the consciousness behind the words. We sense their fears, their grief, their confusions, their passions, their hungers. We pick up on their particular, unrepeatable way of seeing the world, that unique lens shaped by their specific life, their specific journey.
Yeah.
An AI can replicate style, it can mimic structure, it can even predict sentiment, but it can't replicate soul because, well, it has no soul to offer. And ultimately, that's what truly authentic writing is, I think. It's an offering, a vulnerability, a piece of one's raw inner world laid bare for another.
To bring this distinction even more vividly to life, let's immerse ourselves for a moment in the precise yet profoundly human world of therapy. A place where understanding another person's experience is absolutely everything.
Okay.
Dr. Eris Thorne stared at the screen, the cursor blinking at the end of the AI's summary. Patient exhibited recurring patterns of attachment anxiety, referencing childhood memories of parental neglect. It was flawless.
Yeah.
Clinically precise. It had even timestamped the moment his client, a young woman named Maya, had used the word alone.
Precise data.
But the software hadn't registered the silence that followed that word. A void so heavy, Eris had felt the need to hold his own breath. It hadn't noted how Maya's fingers had worried a loose thread on her sleeve, her gaze fixed on a crack in the ceiling, as if it held the answers to the universe.
Ah, the unspoken things.
The machine had processed the data of her pain, but it had missed its texture, its shape, its scent. His own notes, scribbled in a leather-bound journal, were a mess of arrows and half-words, eyes on crack and ceiling like a lifeline, and the silence after alone, a whole story.
Right. The human interpretation.
The clinic was pushing for this new efficiency, a world of streamlined reports and billable insights. But therapy wasn't a product to be optimized. It was the shared space in a quiet room, the unspoken trust, the bearing witness to another's fragile, unsummarizable soul. Eris closed the laptop, the click echoing in the empty office. He picked up his pen. The work was not in the words, but in the spaces between them.
Wow. That story just, it really crystallizes the core distinction we're discussing, doesn't it?
It really does.
AI, for all its power, can process the data points of pain. It can identify keywords, flag patterns, timestamp things. But what it fundamentally misses, what it cannot grasp, is the texture, shape, and scent of that pain.
Yeah.
It lacks the profound, embodied, lived experience that allows a human therapist like Dr. Thorne to intuitively understand the sheer weight of a silence, or to interpret a seemingly tiny gesture, like staring at a crack, as a potential lifeline.
Right. That leap of empathy.
Exactly. Therapy, at its deepest level, is about bearing witness to a fragile, unsummarizable soul. It's about that empathic resonance between two conscious beings. And that's a fundamental aspect of human interaction that current AI, operating on statistics and patterns, simply cannot replicate. It doesn't experience the world, it doesn't have a body, it doesn't possess consciousness in a way that generates those nuanced emotional insights.
And this same struggle for authenticity, this vital need for lived experience, it also rings so true in creative writing, doesn't it? Where that internal wrestling with ideas is actually part of the art itself.
Absolutely. It's central to it.
I hadn't written a real word in 6 weeks. Every morning, I'd sit from my laptop, feed a prompt into the story engine, a grieving lighthouse keeper, a secret in a forgotten letter, and watch it spit out a story more polished and intricate than anything I could imagine.
Mm-hmm. The perfect output.
It knew every trope, every beat, every trick to pluck a heartstring. And I, a writer who once lived on nuance and vulnerability, felt like a blacksmith in the age of the factory. I felt obsolete.
Oof. Yeah.
One afternoon, defeated, I was clearing out old boxes when I found it. A photograph of me at 7, grinning a gap-toothed smile, my arm in a clunky, oversized cast. I'd broken it falling out of a tree trying to save a cat that, in the end, had no trouble saving itself.
Yeah.
I remember the ridiculous sting of humiliation, the sugary taste of the ice cream my dad bought me after, the way my sister drew a lopsided heart on the plaster. The AI could generate a million stories about broken bones, but it could never know the specific, clumsy, stupid, beautiful truth of that break. It didn't have the scars.
The scars.
In that moment, the block didn't just break, it vanished. I pushed the laptop aside. My job wasn't to build a perfect story. It was to tell the truth of my messy, awkward, ridiculous human life. My fingers finally found the keys, and I began to write from the memory of the fall.
That anecdote just perfectly highlights that irreplaceable element of scars, doesn't it? And a deeply personal lived experience we were just talking about.
Yeah.
While an AI, specifically these large language models, can generate endless polished narratives about, say, a broken bone by synthesizing vast amounts of text, identifying patterns, it can't truly know the specific, clumsy, stupid, beautiful truth of that particular break.
Right. Your break.
Exactly. It doesn't carry the scars, literal or metaphorical. It doesn't remember the sting of humiliation or the exact sugary taste of that ice cream or the feeling of that lopsided heart on the plaster.
No, it just has data points about ice cream and broken bones.
Precisely. It operates on statistical relationships between words. It doesn't feel shame or experience hope or hold those private, wordless longings. It can't know the profound pride of using words to convey something difficult, something personal from your own messy existence. That awkward, ridiculous, beautiful human life with all its specific quirks and emotional weight, that's the raw material. That's the unique source of truly compelling art. It's what gives writing its unique pulse, a quality that machines, despite their incredible pattern-matching abilities, simply cannot replicate because they lack consciousness, embodiment, and subjective experience.
And it's not just limited to writing, is it? This idea extends further into other forms of art, like music, where that human touch is what defines whether something is just sound or if it's truly evocative.
Absolutely. The principle holds true across creative domains.
Leo was listening to a playlist called Celestial Harmonies, an AI-curated stream of ambient music guaranteed to enhance focus. Every synth pad swelled at the perfect mathematical interval, every chord progression resolved with pristine algorithmic logic. It was beautiful in the way a crystal is beautiful, flawless, intricate, and cold. It was sound, but it wasn't music. He felt nothing.
That sterile perfection.
Then walking through Washington Square Park, he heard it. A woman sat on a bench with a cello playing a Bach suite. Her brow was furrowed in concentration. A breeze rustled the sheet music, and for a second she lost her place, a note scratching into the evening air.
Ah, the imperfection.
She paused, took a deep breath, and began the phrase again. This time a note bent with a sorrow so profound, so achingly human, it felt like a hand reaching into his chest. It was imperfect, flawed, and utterly alive.
Alive, that's the word.
It held the struggle of the musician, the history of the composer, the shared breath of everyone in the park who would stop to listen. The AI's perfect sound had been an echo chamber. This woman's flawed note was a conversation. It was a difference between a pattern of pixels spelling love and the feeling of a hand finding yours in the dark.
Oh, that's beautifully put. And it illustrates the profound beauty of flawed but alive so well.
Yeah.
The AI-generated music, with its perfect logic, its pristine intervals, it can be objectively beautiful, like that flawless, cold crystal. But as the story shows, it leaves us cold.
Mm-hmm.
It lacks the struggle, the inherent imperfection, the deep vulnerability, the uniquely human element that makes a cello note bend with profound sorrow or a brushstroke convey a lifetime of experience.
Right.
And this is the fundamental philosophical distinction we keep coming back to. AI generates patterns and probabilities based on these massive data sets of human creations, but it doesn't possess genuine emotion, consciousness, or vulnerability.
It can mimic it, though, sometimes disturbingly well.
It can mimic, yes. It can analyze and recognize emotional indicators through data, tone of voice, facial expressions, word choice, but it cannot truly understand or feel them. It can simulate empathy in its responses, but it fundamentally lacks authentic emotional depth and subjective experience. And that's why a human musician's hesitant, sometimes faltering note, or a human writer's messy, maybe even contradictory prose, truly breathes. It carries the fingerprints of a conscious mind, wrestling with its chaotic, beautiful truths. It's what gives real art, real writing, its undeniable pulse, its capacity to stir the soul in a way AI simply cannot replicate.
So it's becoming really clear that AI isn't just, another technological advancement. It's acting like this powerful mirror, reflecting back to us what truly makes us uniquely human.
That's a great way to put it.
And this reflection isn't just some theoretical debate. It's playing out right now in real time across all these different industries. It's forcing a critical reevaluation of what human expression truly means, what its value is, and maybe most importantly, what aspects of it are actually irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Let's unpack some of these professional and ethical considerations.
Absolutely. Because this moment in time, it really represents a kind of strategic redefinition of the human role across professional landscapes. Industries that have historically relied so heavily on authentic human expression, journalism, therapy, the creative arts, they're all grappling now with this profound challenge.
How do we integrate AI?
Exactly. How do you integrate AI without inadvertently eroding or losing the very core value they were founded on, which is, genuine emotional depth, the richness of lived experience, the capacity for true human connection. It's not just about efficiency anymore. It's becoming almost existential.
Let's start with journalism. In that field, trust and accuracy are absolutely everything. They're the foundation.
Bedrock.
With generative AI, especially its ability to synthesize information and create really convincing narratives, those lines between fact and fiction, human and machine, can get incredibly blurry.
Yeah.
How are the major news organizations, these sort of pillars of truth-telling, responding to this?
Well, it's a fascinating and, frankly, rapidly evolving situation. Since generative AI tools like ChatGPT really burst onto the scene, say, late 2022, early 2023, there's been this significant, almost urgent rush by major news organizations globally to establish clear ethical guidelines for AI use.
Okay. They see the potential, but they're wary.
Exactly. They recognize the immense potential for tasks like data analysis, research, maybe summarizing reports, but they are very carefully, almost defensively, defining its role. They want to ensure it serves to enhance, not undermine, the integrity of their work.
So what are the key principles emerging?
Well, one of the biggest is absolute transparency and robust human oversight. This is pretty much universal. Most leading outlets insist on clearly disclosing whenever AI has been used in content production.
Right, got to label it.
You have to label it. And critically, human oversight is an essential requirement. The final decision regarding any AI-based product or content always rests with a human editor or journalist. An AI can't be listed as an author because it can't take responsibility, legal, ethical, professional responsibility for the work.
That makes sense, accountability.
Exactly. Which leads to the next point. Human responsibility and rigorous verification. This is a non-negotiable theme. All AI-generated information, even if it's just a summary or a first draft, must be rigorously reviewed, fact-checked, and verified by a human journalist. AI is strictly seen as a tool, a powerful tool, yes, but never a primary source, never an autonomous producer.
Okay. And what about limitations on how it's used for actual writing?
Yeah, there are strong precautions there, especially for core journalistic content. For text, many big names like Wired or the Associated Press have stated they will not use AI to generate or fundamentally edit core news text.
Really? None at all.
They might use it for background research, maybe suggesting headlines, drafting initial outlines, but those outlines are then completely rewritten by humans. Others, like USA Today or the Spanish agency EFFE, permit limited use for certain types of content, but always demand clear, prominent disclosure. The Financial Times was very explicit, saying its journalism will continue to be reported, written, and edited by humans who are the best in their fields.
So protecting the human craft there. What about images? AI image generation is exploding.
Even tighter restrictions there. Synthetic visuals from AI are largely restricted to illustrative purposes. Think abstract graphics for a feature almost never for informational or breaking news. The risk of misleading audiences is just too high.
Yeah, deep fakes and all that.
Exactly. They must be clearly labeled, often noting the AI model and even the prompt used. And there are growing concerns for photographers and illustrators' livelihoods. So many outlets prohibit AI-generated stock images until ethical and compensation frameworks are figured out.
That brings up a huge point. The legal and ethical minefield around intellectual property. AI models learn from existing stuff, right? A lot of it copyrighted?
It's a massive legal and ethical battlefield, truly. And it could reshape the entire media landscape. Respecting existing copyright is a huge concern. The guideline is, don't use AI to generate infringing content.
But the training data itself.
That's the crux of it. Training these models often involves ingesting billions of copyrighted texts, images, audio files from the internet, often without explicit permission or payment.
So lawsuits are happening.
Oh yes. Multiple high-profile lawsuits are underway from authors, artists, major news orgs like the New York Times arguing their copyrighted material was used unfairly for training. The outcomes will be pivotal. They could fundamentally redefine fair use and IP protection in the AI era.
Wow. And beyond copyright.
Ethical guidelines also stress reflecting audience diversity and actively avoiding discriminatory biases. AI models can learn and amplify biases from their training data, which is a huge risk for news outlets aiming for fairness and trust.
Right.
Ultimately, though, across the board, the human factor is consistently seen as irreplaceable. You see outlets explicitly stating human intelligence must remain core, that they won't replace journalists with machines. Reuters sees AI as enhancing journalism, not replacing it, stressing rigorous editor oversight. The New York Times calls AI a powerful tool, but emphasizes that human guidance, supervision, experience, judgment, the ethical compass, those are essential, non-negotiable.
It's really clear that despite all the potential efficiencies, these institutions are fiercely protecting that human element. They see it as the ultimate guarantee of trust and accuracy in what feels like an increasingly complex information world. It really shows that even in a field driven by facts, the source still needs that human core.
Absolutely. It's about integrity.
Now, let's shift gears to an even more sensitive, more intimate area.
Mental health support.
Can we truly form a therapeutic bond with a machine? And what are the ethical implications of bringing AI into something so profoundly human?
This is perhaps one of the most complex and deeply personal applications of AI we're seeing. The global burden of mental health disorders is just staggering, and we know there are huge barriers to accessing traditional care for so many people.
Yeah, wait lists, cost, stigma.
All of it. And this dire need has understandably fueled the rapid rise of digital mental health interventions, including AI-powered chatbots and virtual therapists. It's become such a field that researchers are now talking about something called a Digital Therapeutic Alliance, or DTA.
A Digital Therapeutic Alliance. What does that mean exactly?
It's basically an attempt to define the collaborative relationship and potentially the emotional connection that might develop between a user and an AI-driven psychotherapy tool.
Might develop.
Exactly. It tries to map onto the key elements we see in human therapy, aligning on goals, agreeing on tasks, the therapeutic bond itself, user engagement, and figuring out what helps or hinders the process. It's a really optimistic concept, but also, deeply challenging.
So on the surface, what are these AI tools actually showing they can do in a therapy-like context? Are there surprising areas where they seem to help?
Yes, surprisingly, AI has shown some remarkable, though definitely limited, capabilities. For instance, in goal alignment and task agreement, they can be quite effective.
How so?
They can help users articulate and agree on therapy goals, often using structured frameworks like SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. They can outline the steps needed. Sometimes a human therapist sets initial goals, then the AI helps the user track progress.
Okay, so structured task. What about the softer side? Empathy.
Well, this is perhaps the most talked about capability: AI's potential for perceived empathy and creating a non-judgmental space.
Perceived empathy.
Yes, perceived. Chatbots that are explicitly designed to display empathetic reactions through careful wording, tone, pacing, they consistently get rated more positively by users. People often say they feel more enjoyable, understanding, trustworthy.
Oh, really? Got more than a person.
Well, users frequently report finding these AI tools to be a safe, non-judgmental space where they feel comfortable discussing feelings freely. Maybe because there's no fear of human judgment or social stigma.
The anonymity factor.
Exactly. Ease of access, 204/7 availability, anonymity. These are seen as huge benefits, especially for vulnerable groups who might otherwise get no support at all.
And does this lead to people actually using them? Engagement?
Initial user engagement can be remarkably high. Again, accessibility and that non-judgmental perception are key drivers. Some studies even show that more human-like anthropomorphic chatbots lead to higher compliance with the suggested exercises or check-ins. For people in remote areas or with social anxiety, these tools offer a promising way to get initial access, potentially reducing healthcare inequalities.
Those are definitely compelling benefits, especially accessibility. But the word therapy itself just screams human connection. Where does AI fundamentally fall short?
And this is where the core distinction becomes really, really clear. Despite those positive initial perceptions, AI fundamentally struggles, and you could argue current tech simply cannot replicate the profound emotional depth and the complex phenomenon of transference you find in human therapy.
Transference. That's like projecting feelings onto the therapist, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a core concept where clients unconsciously redirect feelings and expectations from past relationships, often childhood ones, onto the therapist. It's messy, complex, but incredibly rich and crucial for deep therapeutic work. AI has zero capacity for that unconscious emotional dynamic.
Right. It's not having its own past.
Precisely. And therapists themselves almost universally say establishing a genuine therapeutic bond with AI is the most challenging, if not impossible part. Then there are the sheer limitations in interaction.
Like what?
Many current chatbots use rule-based systems or fairly superficial pattern matching so they can give inadequate, rigid, or just plain, weird, contextually inappropriate responses.
Yeah, I've seen chatbots get stuck in loops.
Exactly. Which leads to user frustration and engagement dropping off a cliff over time. AI struggles with the deep nuance of human conversation, understanding individual needs, navigating context, providing genuinely appropriate reinforcement. And critically, this is huge, they lack the capacity to handle crisis scenarios effectively.
Like detecting suicide risk.
Exactly. Detecting suicidal thoughts, providing immediate, nuanced support during an acute mental health crisis. They're just not equipped. It's a major, potentially life or death concern.
Wow. Okay. And what about the long term? Do these things actually lead to lasting change?
That's the big question mark, the long-term impact and effectiveness. While initial engagement might be high, it often drops significantly if users don't feel they're getting immediate or tangible benefits. And crucially, there's a real lack of rigorous longitudinal studies tracking users over months or years. So our understanding of the DTA's long-term viability and actual effectiveness in creating sustained mental health improvement is severely limited.
So we're talking very real limitations, especially where safety is concerned. What about the broader ethical questions? Putting AI in charge of mental health feels fraught.
It is incredibly fraught. The rapid evolution here raises a host of critical and complex ethical questions we're only just starting to grapple with. Concerns about personalization, how much data is collected, how's it used, is it truly adapting or just stereotyping?
Yeah, privacy.
Data privacy and security are paramount. Mental health info is incredibly sensitive. Then there are deep questions about the actual efficacy of purely AI interventions versus human-involved approaches. Ensuring inclusivity is vital. AI can perpetuate biases, potentially harming marginalized groups.
Right.
And maintaining a fundamentally user-centered approach, making sure the tech serves the individual's well-being, not just efficiency goals. Robust ethical guidelines, clear regulations, real accountability from AI companies are absolutely essential. Ultimately, the profound call remains. Should therapy be purely AI-driven? Or is the human relationship an indispensable core?
And it sounds like the answer, for now at least, is pretty clearly the latter.
From all current evidence, yes. The human relationship seems indispensable.
It's clear then. While AI can offer some undeniable benefits, accessibility, maybe initial non-judgmental space, the deep human connection, the emotional nuance, the incredibly complex ethical tightrope walk of therapy that remains firmly rooted in the human domain. The true soul of therapy, that space of witnessing and understanding, really needs a human presence.
It seems so.
Let's broaden out now, expand our deep dive into the wider landscape of the creative arts. Generative AI making text, images, music, video. It feels poised to transform basically everything: film, music production, visual art, writing. What does this massive shift mean for the artists themselves, for how we even define creativity? I mean, most importantly, for you, the audience. What do you seek out in entertainment now?
This is truly a seismic shift, yeah, impacting pretty much every facet of media and entertainment. We're already seeing generative AI used in incredibly sophisticated ways.
Like what specifically?
Well, digitally de-aging actors, seamlessly recreating the likeness, even the voices, of performers who've passed away.
Yeah.
Things that used to take huge teams of visual effects artists years might soon be achievable in months by a small team. It's assisting with script writing, editing, complex VFX, even sophisticated dubbing that perfectly syncs mouth movements to new dialogue in multiple languages.
That's incredible. And music.
Music, too. AI is helping identify emerging talent, predict trends, generate entirely new compositions in different styles, even convincingly use the voices of long-gone artists like, say, Frank Sinatra or Elvis, potentially creating new revenue streams indefinitely.
Wild. The cost savings must be huge.
That's the big driver. Significant reductions in production costs are promised. Estimates suggest maybe 10–30% savings in TV and film, with animation and post-production seeing the biggest potential efficiencies.
Okay, those savings are obviously attractive to studios. But this must raise some incredibly thorny issues, especially for the artists themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the big ethical dilemmas and labor concerns?
You've hit the absolute core of the conflict. One massive concern is around consent and copyright. Can these AI tools legally use an actor's name, likeness, voice, or a musician's unique sound without explicit, ongoing permission and proper compensation?
Yeah, that seems fundamental.
It is, and it extends right down to the data used to train the models. As we discussed with journalism, numerous lawsuits are challenging whether AI models trained on copyrighted books, songs, films, images without permission violate IP laws. The outcomes here will be absolutely groundbreaking for the whole industry.
And then who owns the AI's creation?
Exactly. The question of authorship. If an AI writes a script, or composes a song, or makes an image, who owns the rights? The prompter? The AI company? The artist whose work it learned from? It deeply challenges our traditional ideas of creativity, IP, and artistic ownership.
And jobs. Are people worried about being replaced?
Hugely worried. Job displacement and the devaluing of human work are massive concerns. Labor unions, especially in Hollywood, actors, writers, directors, crew, are deeply worried AI could replace human jobs on a massive scale, leading to widespread unemployment, or just turn unique creative work into a cheap commodity.
That was a big part of the strikes last year, wasn't it?
A major sticking point, yes. Artists pushed hard for strong protections for their likenesses, voices, and creative contributions against unregulated AI use.
So there's this clear tension.
Yeah.
Huge efficiency potential versus these profound human and ethical worries.
Mm-hmm.
How's this playing out with the audience? Are people actually embracing AI-generated stuff, or is something else happening?
This is one of the most fascinating and maybe encouraging outcomes for human creators. While sure, some consumers are intrigued by AI-created music or visuals, there's a novelty factor.
Yeah, hey, check out this song AI wrote.
Right. But many others are showing this powerful, almost instinctive craving for the emotional depth, the raw authenticity, the palpable human touch that only human storytelling and art can provide. There's a strong emerging sentiment, you hear it in discussions, see it in surveys, that human-created content will be premium. That the genuine, messy, imperfect human voice and vision will be sought out, prized above the noise of slick, algorithmically generated content.
So the human touch becomes a selling point.
It suggests a future where the human touch is a truly valuable differentiator, a mark of quality, a premium commodity in a world saturated with AI perfection.
Were there any areas AI can't really touch?
Yes, and it's crucial to note that. Certain forms of entertainment seem largely insulated, and their value might actually rise because of AI spread. Think live sports, concerts, theater.
Right, the live experience.
Exactly. They thrive on real-time emotion, unpredictability, the direct, undeniable human connection between performer and audience. Qualities current AI just cannot replicate. The inherent value of those unscripted, unoptimizable, profoundly human live experiences is expected to climb in an AI-saturated world.
So even as AI optimizes and cuts costs everywhere, it seems like it's inadvertently sharpening our collective appreciation for that irreplaceable human touch. It's almost like the more perfect the machine gets, the more we value the perfectly imperfect human, elevating it to a premium.
That seems to be the trend, yes. A fascinating paradox.
As we approach the end of this deep dive, it just feels increasingly clear that AI is way more than just a tool for efficiency or some tech marvel. It's like this powerful, almost introspective mirror, reflecting back to us what truly makes us uniquely human. It's forcing us to define our own essence by what machines can't do.
That's absolutely the profound insight emerging here. The future isn't this binary choice, AI versus human creativity. It's not that simple.
No.
Instead, it's about making thoughtful, informed, and probably very individual decisions about which tools genuinely serve our deepest goals and truly enhance our work, and which ones might, maybe subtly, chip away at our innate human capacities, our ability to feel, to connect, to struggle, and ultimately to create something uniquely our own.
And there's value in that struggle, isn't there? Beyond just efficiency.
Absolutely. There's profound value in the imperfect. Many creative professionals, even ones who embrace AI for certain mundane tasks, express real concern about AI eroding their unique creative style, their instincts.
Yeah, I heard that losing your voice, fear.
Exactly. They fear they could lose their voice, that distinct, idiosyncratic element that their audience connects with, the very thing that makes their work theirs. There's this strong, almost intuitive belief among many that creativity is like a muscle. You have to use it or it withers away.
Right. You can't just outsource the core of it.
The sentiment is clear. Outsourcing your core creative wrestling, your exploration, it won't help you grow as an artist or a thinker in the long run. As one person put it so well, only a human who has experienced, seen, or profoundly studied the things he or she writes about can truly craft a factual and entertaining story.
Lived experience again.
It speaks volumes to the depth, the nuance, the perspective that only lived experience can bring. AI writing, no matter how advanced, how grammatically perfect, how logical, often has this strange emptiness to it.
Yeah, that hollow feeling you mentioned.
It sounds correct, but it can feel wrong. Like someone expertly mimicking a laugh without ever having felt real joy or expressing grief without knowing loss.
Right.
In stark contrast, human writing often thrives precisely in its imperfections. Those abrupt shifts in tone, the clumsy metaphors that somehow just work, the trembling balance between certainty and doubt that mirrors our own inner lives.
Yeah, it breathes.
It breathes. It carries the unmistakable fingerprints of a messy, beautiful mind wrestling with its chaotic, often contradictory truths.
That makes perfect sense. So with all this focus on AI's limits in emotion and originality, are there areas where its impact is just unequivocally positive, even transformative?
Yes, and it's crucial we highlight this. One of AI's most significant and undeniably positive impacts is its role in accessibility.
Oh, okay. How so?
For individuals with disabilities like ADHD, dyslexia, blindness, even physical limitations, making typing hard AI tools can be truly invaluable assistance. Imagine AI as a personalized editor, fixing grammar, suggesting structures, or an intelligent organizer for scattered thoughts, helping build an argument.
Or even translation.
Or real-time language translation, bridging communication gaps. These applications genuinely enable people to express themselves and thrive on written platforms in ways that were previously incredibly difficult, maybe impossible.
So it's empowering in that context.
Exactly. It's not replacing, it's empowering. It's a powerful assistive technology that can unlock human potential, allow diverse voices to be heard. And that, to me, is a very compelling and profoundly important use case.
Okay. That's a really important point.
Ultimately, though, the enduring, irreplaceable role of empathy and genuine human connection remains absolutely central. At its core, empathy, that capacity to deeply understand and share another's feelings, is essential for creating any communication that truly touches hearts. It's about deeply understanding your audience, your client, your character, and crafting words that hit home on a personal level, fostering those deep, often unspoken emotional connections.
Yeah.
And this is especially profound for professionals like, say, social workers, who are sometimes seen as sacred storytellers.
Sacred storytellers. I like that.
They constantly grapple with the immense challenge of narrating complex human lives. They strive to catch glimpses of that deeper self in their clients, to portray them with compassion and respect, even when facing pressures for quick, often deficit-based summaries.
That must take real humility.
Profound humility. An admission that we never really know for sure what's going on inside another person's heart and mind. A commitment to keeping our narratives changeable, adaptable, open to new understanding. And that human capacity for emotional transformation in writing, for wrestling with complex, often painful emotions and information, information, and then transmuting that raw material into art or narrative that inspires, uplifts, makes others feel truly seen and known, that is simply irreplaceable. Ultimately, true writing, true art, true connection, it's an offering of the soul.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the consistent message echoing across journalism, therapy, the creative arts, it feels profoundly clear. Despite AI's increasing sophistication, its capacity for flawless generation, there remains this uniquely human capacity for vulnerability, for the messy, contradictory, deeply felt experiences that machines simply cannot replicate. The authentic stories we tell, the genuine connections we forge, the empathy we share, even the imperfections that reveal our struggles and our triumphs, these aren't just data points for some algorithm to optimize. They feel like the very essence of what makes us alive, what defines our consciousness, and what imbues our expressions with profound, undeniable soul.
Indeed. And I think we are entering an era where the value of truly human-created content born from lived experience, infused with genuine emotion and consciousness, will only escalate. This deep dive has really shown us, I think, that it's about recognizing and cherishing the pulse within our words, the beating heart behind our art, and our unwavering commitment to the messy, beautiful truth of being human in a world increasingly filled with algorithmic perfection. That's the real insight here, perhaps. The more flawless AI becomes, the more profound the value of our imperfections, and the more vital our unique human contribution to the world's unfolding narrative.